I am so excited to see all of you today. By the time you're seeing this, you would likely have seen our series on forgiveness. If you did not, I highly encourage you to go and watch that. The feedback on that conversation has been tremendous. We got 4 good episodes out of it. The first 2 on forgiving others, the second 2 on healing self and forgiving self. That one is key. And that one really catapulted us into today's discussion and what we want to bring to you today. So you've heard Garen and I. First of all, you see us here, right? This is as natural as an organic as it can be. And you have seen us and heard us talk about this concept of friendship and what it's meant, and how important it is to the balance of our life as we deal with everything that's coming our way. And so we wanted to go a little deeper on that and just share and talk a little bit as friends, as brothers, and talk about why that's so important to our day-to-day lives, man, and just how we think, do, and act as we go throughout our day. So, Sprav, like any kind of opening thoughts, man, as you think about friendship, brotherhood, community, like, man, what does that say to you right now? Just a quick kind of first thought.
Necessary. 100% necessary. I mean, look at just before we even got onto this recording.
Yeah.
We got a call from one of our friends. Tapping in, just checking out, seeing how we're doing, encouraging us on what we're doing in business and our personal lives, and what's happening going forward. So it's crucial, man, to everything.
Absolutely. You know, it is so easy to overlook the value, especially as you get older, man. You get older, you start having kids, wife, partners, whatever, man. You got job, you got the stress of bills and everything that comes with it. It is so easy to overlook what this topic, what friendship, brotherhood, community really means to us. And many times it's not until we are late, meaning, man, we're already kind of struggling, that we're like, oh man, what am I missing? What's going on? And then you may go hang out with some friends one day and you're like, man, this was fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Why am I not doing this?
Right. Like, this is a great time. And then you go back home and your shoulders drop and you're folded up again.
Yeah.
And so we want to just start with this concept of basic fundamental concept. Now I want to get your reaction to this, Garen.
Sure.
The idea that we are not made to be alone. Right? So no matter what phase of our life, we come out the womb, we're with our mother, we're with our father, siblings, parents, everything, grandparents, everybody's around us. We grow up knowing community, right? Yeah. We go to school. It's very collaborative. We got friends all the way up through school, high school, college, all that, right? We then get out into this space, right? And when we used to do the symposiums at Oakwood, we used to talk to the kids, and we're gonna talk about that because that's rebooting.
Yeah.
For those of you that are interested, the foundation is coming again. We are getting back into it in 2025, leading into 2026. I'm so excited to share what's in the works there. But we talk to the students about that period of time right after you graduate college. You go out into the workforce. All your college friends have gone their different directions, and you start this path of quote unquote independence. And you start to recognize very quickly that so much of your efforts during that phase is about you. Kind of that uniquely selfish zone where you're out of school, you don't have kids yet, but you've got no real responsibilities, but you're also claiming out and staking out who you are, man.
Yeah.
So this concept of not being made to be alone. So why don't you tell the audience, Garen, who are you naturally? Who is Garen Sprav, out of the womb, raw, uncut personality?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the evolution of that over the years, man.
Yeah. So I'm a collaborative guy. Okay. I love people. I love community. I grew up in a household, man, where and stop. I'm telling you, stop already. Right. If you go to the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, and you mention our last name, it's
royalty.
Stop it. It's not all of that.
It's royalty.
But I do have family members who were educators,
royalty.
In government and so forth. But when we would have Thanksgiving for our family, man, it was a big deal. You had all kind of extended family members coming into town and so forth. So I grew up knowing community. And it really has made me into who I am. So even coming into adulthood, I'm always looking for people, man. Always looking for people. Just connecting. As I've gotten older, I realized like, okay, some of those relationships were a little bit not. They weren't as they didn't have as much depth.
Okay.
as I thought.
Okay.
Right? I've also evolved. People have evolved. So it has gotten smaller, but there's still. I'm all about community still, man, and bringing people in. That's me.
Yeah.
I love to learn, like groupthink. I love that.
Yeah.
Just different perspectives, man.
Okay. So, growing up,
Yeah.
okay, you were all about community, loved it. It was a necessary part of your kind of upbringing. How did that change, man, as you got further forward in life? Talk to us a little bit about that, because you mentioned several times your wife had to sit you down.
Yeah.
And had a conversation with you.
Yeah.
What led up to that?
Yeah. Well, listen. So I've with this whole groupthink, with this whole loving people and wanting people around, I recognized like I was being pulled in so many different directions, and I was running myself ragged. There was a point in time where my wife, as well as some of my friends, would tell people no for me because they knew that I would say yes. You know, I'm always willing to serve, always willing to like reach out and my wife said, yo, enough is enough, dude. Like you need to sometimes like shut your mouth, sit down, rest, relax, stop saying so much, right? Because I'm always thinking that people have the same interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I recognize that that's not actually true.
So, Garen and I over the years have had a couple of conversations that we remember by where one of us was at the time. And there was a conversation where I was in the Taco Bell drive-thru. Actually, I pulled out of the drive-thru because the conversation went so long. Yeah. And one of the things we talked about in that conversation, I very, very, very distinctly remember it, was the role Garen played in our friendship group. So blessed and fortunate to have in the area we live a very large friendship group. Lots of couples around the same age, kids around the same age. And so there were lots of activities that were always going on. Trips planned together between families and, play dates and all the things that go along with that. And in observing our personalities in that friendship group, I was always the one, how would you say it, Garen? No one ever worried about, like, that James was James.
James is that guy, man. He'll come to the party, and he'll sit for a while. He's never on time. He comes after, right? He'll sit for a while, and I'm always paying attention to the people in the room. And when I see James when he picks up his phone, it's like, this brother's ready to go, and I got to watch him. I got to try to engage him really quickly into a conversation because he's ready to go. He comes in, he does his thing, and then he's out. I didn't like that.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. All right. So that's a little bit of my introversion coming out. What was your role?
I was the connector between myself and my home with my wife, man. It's like, hey, let's set up a potluck. Let's set up a party. Let's bring people together. We're always trying to bring people together. It was just fun, man, to just see people. My wife, her family is very small, right? So marrying into a family of like mine, which is so large, she enjoyed that. ED, right? She too has evolved, and now she's just like, I like, simple quality. She's going back to what she knows, right? Which is small, and I've adopted some of that. I appreciate it because again, we go deeper,
right?
We go deeper.
So the conversation we had, I was in that Taco Bell drive-thru. I was telling Garen, man, that I was becoming exhausted watching him try to keep all the balls in the air, right? Yeah. Obviously, when you have a large friendship group, many different personalities, many different opinions. And so naturally, there's going to be movement. People are going to go where they're comfortable. They're going to gravitate towards. But Garen was constantly trying to keep everyone in the boat, right? He told you how we tried to get to me. When I was ready, I was ready. I'm a schedule guy. Getting out of schedule just, messes with my energy. So, but watching him go through that. And at the same time, there were some business things happening for him. There was just a lot. And the pressure he was putting on himself to manage and maintain those relationships, I did not believe was sustainable. In this moment, came up where I had an opportunity to share with him, brother, are you sure this is the way? And I remember at the time he talked about, James, what if I stop, who's going to do it? If I stop, are the potlucks and the play dates and the trips going to end? Right. And it was one of those things where we didn't get to a conclusion at the time, but it was just a conversation that happened. And so this concept of, man, when you have friendship, brotherhood, and community, and things are going well, and you feel the love that community gives you, again, as you reflect on that, is there any thought that comes to mind as to why you felt so passionate about playing that role?
Yeah. So listen, man, I felt that I was like something was going to be missing, right? I love learning from people. I love seeing people together. I love the laughter. I love all the things that comes with that. And I felt as though something was missing for me. And I was striving to get it out of the room. So I loved when people get together and they take off on a conversation and I could just sit back and watch that. And I don't think I'll ever leave, like that'll ever leave me. Like I love to see fireworks, not necessarily friction, but just like when people are in flow.
Yep.
And that really feeds me. And I wanted to keep that. I didn't realize what I was sacrificing though. I was willing to be exhausted to keep that. But through our conversations and through other things, I realized like there was something else that I was missing, man, and I was looking for, and I could find it in other areas. I didn't know the options that were available to me. I think that was really important for me, knowing that I have options and I can get the same high or same knowledge or the wisdom in other areas, in powerful moments. That made things become like wide open for me.
Yeah. Got it, man. So obviously a lot wrapped into that, man, and the burden of that. As I've gotten to know you over the years, and I do want to go back and share with the audience a little bit more of the story of how we became friends, because that's also critically important.
I think you sharing a little bit about how you view friendships and
oh yes,
okay,
yes,
please.
Yes. I'll do that too. So this idea, man, that this ecosystem was so connected to you. It was such a part of who you felt you were at the time. It was a need that you had, right? And, obviously everybody's going through different things at different points in life. But at that point in life, I know for both of us, there was just a lot of transformation and change in our, as we were kind of maturing in our marriages and in our lives and careers, work, entrepreneurship, just a lot going on. And the benefits of this community, the beauty of knowing that at any moment in time, at least once a weekend, there was going to be some place,
some gathering,
right, where you could just chill, and let it be. So Garen asked the question of me in terms of my thoughts on friendship. I'm an only son, and I'm the last child, and my sisters are several years older. So I grew up very much like Garen, like in New York, on the block. In Brooklyn, everywhere, family everywhere, right? Next door family, across the street, church family, like, everybody on that block had some connection to me. And so I never really had to develop friendships because they were all part of my ecosystem. Because I was the youngest child, I ended up playing with a lot of older people, right? I had, there was 9 of us living in the house together, right? A multiple generation situation. And so, that's just a community that I lived in. And so when I went to school, I would have friends, right? But that was because I was at school. I didn't really make a habit of talking to them outside of that, but because I had a huge family and ecosystem. Yeah. It wasn't until I got, high school, college, that I started to really figure out, okay, here's who I am in that group. Here's what I need from friendship, right? And as I kind of got older, got out of school, man, I was so focused at that point on getting my start, right? You growing up in a West Indian household, for those of you that are unfamiliar, there are only a few acceptable jobs, right? Pastor, preacher, doctor, lawyer. That was it in my house. And, I started college, pre-med, biology. I was doing my thing. And then I changed, right? I changed. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to do the 3 things. I'm going to go and do a 4th thing. And so I was so focused on being successful in that coming out of college, man, friends were the last thing on my mind. Right? All I thought I needed, all I thought I needed was my focus and dedication and a girl. Right? You need some companionship. You need a distraction, right?
Yeah.
So all right. So coming out, I had a career. I had a good job coming out. One my parents could be somewhat proud of. And I had a girl. Okay. And so I'm good. Moved to a small town, doing my thing. Focus.
Yep.
Until I had some personal stuff start happening to me health-wise. So that's when I first got diagnosed with high blood pressure. Dude, I was 25 years old.
It's crazy.
When I got on the pills for the blood pressure, man. And I came to know a little bit hereditary and all these things in family. All right. Long story long at this point. Started coming up to Orlando from that small town. And started to run in and intersect with the circle that Garen just talked about, right? So I was outside the circle. I knew people in the circle because some of them I had gone to school with. Interestingly enough, some of those folks ended up getting married. And so it was, we're attending the weddings and all that. But I was outside the circle. Started going and hanging around with the circle. And Garen, you left out some important details. Everybody in the circle lived, it felt like, within 2 miles of each other. In some cases, right across the street. So there was a comfort level, there was an affinity that I just never felt a part of. So I was a visitor to the circle, not a member of the circle. And so running into this dude, you want to take it away, sir?
I mean, listen, man, so I didn't look at him, James, as... It was difficult for me, all right, because apparently the people in the circle knew James. They knew him. Yeah. Some of them knew you very well.
Yeah.
I didn't know him, and
But remember, he's the ringleader of the circle. So the circle took cues from him. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Take that with a grain of salt, right? But when he would come into town, it's like there's an opening. Like when you're meeting a group of people, you're talking, everyone's kind of open to the next person, so it allows for even the flow of the conversation. There would be an opening for James to enter, but his personality, I struggled with it.
It was great.
Great for him, but this guy was so stoic, so boring, right? Nice car, he would come up in, top down and all that stuff, but he didn't smile much. He didn't interact much. He would talk and then he would just be like unbothered. And it's like, who is this arrogant prick who's coming here, man? Like messing up the flow. Like either you're in or you're not, man. Like stop. That's what I'm saying in my head, So there was definite friction, not outward friction, just an internal rub. Like, who's this dude, man? Like, and then he's him and one of our friends, Curtis. They're connecting. They're doing projects together and so forth. And I'm like, Curtis, I'm going over by James. I'm like, this dude.
So what he's saying is everyone else in the group understood who I was and the role I played. He refused to see it.
I did. I mean, you guys went to school together. You went to college together.
We did.
You know what I mean? I moved here to Florida in 2001, and I became a part of this ecosystem. It was kind of fragmented, I guess, and then we kind of like all pooled together and we started hanging real deep. But yeah, you're infrequent coming in to town and leaving, and then the way that you kind of like came in and left, there was nothing to be desired. So do I want to get to know this dude? No.
All right.
I don't.
Okay. clearly we're sitting here today. So something changed.
Something did change.
Tell the audience.
All right.
What changed?
All right, high level. Okay, we're not gonna get into the
We
weeds.
might get into a little. Okay, go ahead.
So we're a part of this book club, man, and there are people within this book club. There's relationships going on, relationships wanting to be had, all kinds of stuff that's going on there. So a little bit of drama. So we met at a restaurant down in downtown Orlando.
Yeah.
And everyone is there. We're talking about the book, and then the conversation ensues. But about the book, though, you began to share your perspective on the topic. And I'm sitting right next to you, probably in the same, yeah, you were to my right. I believe it was, right?
Yep.
And you're talking, I remember you talking, man, and the stuff that you were sharing, did you see that move from Canelo when Crawford hit him? He was like, I busted one of these kind of moves like this guy. Like this dude is spitting some wisdom, which triggers me, right? Because I want to learn something. I'm always interested in learning something new. And you gave a perspective on the topic that I appreciated. Everything inside of me changed because me wanting to learn is much higher than, trying to work through the friction of, a friendship or an acquaintanceship or whatever it is, man. But I'm like, listen to this dude. And you kept spitting. I'm like, yo, this dude is smart, is what I'm saying. The other people in the room probably know of your wisdom, know of your intelligence, right? From school or what have you, or working with you. But I didn't know that. That was the turning point for me to be open to listening and learning more from you.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm glad that my ego arrested itself to allow for what I truly knew was priority to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we never had beef.
No,
it's just you just was like, I don't like him. So now, why are we telling you the story? Because at the end of the day, you never know who in your orbit is that person. And more than now, a decade plus later, we sit here and we have the same thing that clicked in Garen's mind, and that day will live on as legend until we all pass. That whoever was there remembers that day like it was yesterday. But that moment that clicked has completely changed the course of our friendship and both of our lives, I would argue. The travel we've done together, the memories we've had together. Dude, I saw a picture the other day when we went to the lake up in Missouri. Went to Lake of the Ozarks, man. Yeah. I mean, just going back throughout the years, how many memories were made through this commitment to community. I had to come out of my shell. Yeah. I had to recognize that I need people in my life. I had to recognize that. And Garen had to be willing and open to accept somebody that came a little different, a little different packaging, in order to have that moment where it's like this. I see where this guy, I see where the perspectives he has, the way he shows up could add value to the circle first, and then to, our lives as individuals going forward. I will
say to that point too. So I found myself going back into that role of taking care of the community by protecting your personality. Now that I was getting, I was understanding it more. Protecting it, even when it meant, even when I wanted you to be a part of the group, right? Because I'm experiencing you in a certain way, and it's like, man, this dude is awesome, man. Like, yeah, we gonna hang together, we gonna travel together, and all that. Taking that and bringing it to a collective group, I have to realize that may not be you in a bigger group,
right?
So I was like, still kind of like, making sure that when I brought people together, it was the right kind of people together, because I still wanted you to flow, right? I didn't want you to go into a shell, because it's like, man, come on, man, like add to the group. But if it's the wrong people, and wrong meaning just not the right, you wouldn't flow. So I was still kind of working that out to ensure that everybody is still in flow and
having a good time. Garen was Mr. I want everybody to have a good time.
Always.
And that weight was a part of the burden carried. So all these years later, those moments have defined so much of the story that has been written and is continuing to be written. As we record this, he and I have talked about, man, where does this go? We're recording these sessions. We're sharing ourselves authentically, increasingly so, especially me. Yeah. He's always been the giver and the talker, and that I'm growing into that. And again, this is really just about helping you, sharing with you the fact that what you're seeing here and what you may have with your group is real and it's needed.